If I went back to the beginning of my business, there are so many things that I would do differently. I've learned a lot through 10 years of trial and error, and in that time there have been valuable lessons that would have literally saved me many months, and I'd like to share some of them with you today. I started my business when I was 20, and although I was young, I was passionate about making great films. However, as I grew, I learned that there are so many things that I needed to do to have a successful business rather than just a hobby. So in this video, I'm going to dive into 5 key tips I have for you to help you avoid some of the mistakes I made early in my career as you start your video production business. Before I get started, I want to invite you to join me in my free 1-hour business filmmaking training that I put together, where I'll show you 10 actionable steps that you can start putting to practice right away. I'll leave the link in the description below. Okay, let's begin. So tip number 1 is set clear business goals and objectives. Most video creators I work with get into the industry because they like the idea of being paid to do the creative work they love. This is great, but it's not specific. And without specific goals and objectives, you won't be able to steer the ship, and in this field it's very easy to blow off course. Specific goals include things like, how much money do you need to make? What do you need to be doing on a daily basis? What requirements do you have that are unique to your business, like your location, being close to home or preferring to travel, being with the kids, or creating an ethical business that aligns with your beliefs. The more specific you are about what you want your business to look like, the more you'll be able to focus on what it is you'd like moving forward. When you know where you want to go, it gives a clearer picture of the steps to take to get there. Without clear goals and objectives, you can't make a plan for achieving those goals. And as they say, those who fail to plan to fail. Those who fail to spend the time setting goals may end up building a business that they hate, bogged down with all the things that they really don't want to do. Strategic planning can help avoid these pitfalls and really build a business that serves you and fulfills what led you to start in the first place. One of the things that often happens when you start to plan ahead is you realize that there's more things that need doing than there are hours in the day. And this is okay, and don't let it stress you out. It's far better to have a big picture idea of exactly what needs doing than stay in the dark. When you can see into the future, you can plan for what's to come. For example, you may realize that you need to outsource and hire people to help you fill in those gaps. But this will only be effective if you have clear goals and operate in your zone of genius, while allowing others to operate in theirs. This means focusing on the key income generating activities that only you can do, while automating or outsourcing everything else. For instance, as a video business owner, one of the most common tasks to delegate is the editing. This is a hugely time-consuming and comparatively low-value activity that if you try and do yourself, you could jeopardize other more important activities like planning and directing or sales and marketing. Remember, when you operate exclusively in your zone of genius and get help in areas outside of that zone, you can really achieve outstanding results. Tip number 2 is find your niche. At first, you may be taking any and every job that you can find. And while this works to generate some income and start building a portfolio, this approach won't grow your business in a sustainable and scalable way. You're going to want to define your niche as early in your business as possible. Finding a niche means finding a specific group of people that you serve. Often people are afraid to narrow down their target audience in a fear that they'll be missing out on other options. However, what those who've done this have found is that the riches are in the niches, or niche as we say in England, but that doesn't really rhyme. When you serve a more unique group, you're able to really build expertise in one area, become known as an expert, and therefore raise your prices. You don't have to stay with one niche forever, but definitely spend at least 6 months pursuing a given client group. This will give you a great experience and better understanding of your chosen niche, so you can really decide if it's the best place for you. It will also strengthen your brand in that area, and you'll find it quickly becomes easier to land those types of clients. The more specific your niche, the better, as you can really narrow down the pool of people that need help, and in turn, your marketing and messaging will become more effective. I'll leave a link to my full video on how to find your niche in the cards and the description below. Tip number 3 is create a passion project. As you're really considering the area you want to work in, you may find it helpful to take on a limited number of passion projects. These are strategic, free-to-fee efforts, but they must have your true business goals in mind. A common mistake I see filmmakers make is creating spec commercials or free projects without really considering the market that they want to serve. They just create a cool video for Nike or Coca-Cola, but it doesn't really lead anywhere because they haven't done it with a business-first approach. I don't want you to waste your time, so be really thoughtful about the projects that you take on. One of these sorts of projects every 3 or 4 months is a good range to aim for, and I've taken on projects at times that are around 1 day of my time for free, but led to thousands of dollars in good business relationships. I've also taken on projects that provided other benefits, such as giving me publicity I wouldn't have had otherwise, like one film I made for a local artist that resulted in over 500,000 views, and agencies from all over the world got in touch asking to use the footage. Not bad for a free project that cost me just a day of my time. Of course, there are also times where you may want to take on a project purely because it aligns with your personal beliefs. And this is one of the great things about having a skill, or a sought after skill, where you can help other people and businesses just because you can. Just make sure you're careful with how many of these projects you take on. You want to make sure that whatever you choose has clear boundaries, so be clear with your motivation and don't be afraid to say no to passion projects that aren't the best fit for you and your business. When you're considering a passion project, instead of just making it blindly without talking to the client that you've got in mind, it's good to first meet with them and really understand their problems and needs, and then discuss what they think could work well for them too. Here are a few great reasons to speak to the client before just blindly making a spec commercial. First, there's a chance they'll pay you a normal fee to create the video. After all, why do it for free if they might be willing to pay? Second, you demonstrate your enthusiasm and commitment to their company, which greatly increases the chances of landing them as a client in the future. Third, if they won't pay the full fee, there's a good chance they'll do it at cost. And fourth, you'll learn a lot about your ideal customer, what their needs are, and if it's even worth pursuing this project. Tip number 4 is deepen your understanding of marketing. Marketing, in simple terms, is helping to connect the right person to the right message at the right time. For your marketing to be effective, you need to identify people who could be interested in your products or services, also called leads or prospects. Leads interact with your business on different levels prior to working with you, and not all leads become clients. You'll have what's commonly referred to as a sales funnel, where you have leads going in the top. Some of those will convert to paying customers at the bottom. The more effective your funnel is, the more profitable your business can be. So where should you be looking for leads? It can be tempting with so many different social media channels to try and be everywhere. As time passes, the list of options gets longer, from Twitter and Facebook to Instagram, YouTube, blogs, emails, podcasts, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and more. But it's tempting to feel like you need to be in all of these places, whereas the reality is you don't need to be everywhere. You simply need to be where your ideal client is. I find that the most effective way to reach decision makers for my video business is through LinkedIn. This is because LinkedIn is responsible for 80% of B2B leads from social media. So if I were to recommend one platform for networking, it would be LinkedIn. You can easily narrow down your top ideal clients using their advanced search features, and I have a whole section on LinkedIn in my course, Video Business Mastery. This platform, along with the step-by-step process I provide, will help you implement an effective marketing strategy to start landing higher paying clients and grow your video production business. Tip number 5 is really learn how to talk about the value of video. It can be tempting to spend your whole time focusing on the newest video equipment and techniques. While these are helpful, the reality is that being able to talk about the value of what you do and promote your business is going to be key to actually using any of your equipment or expertise. If you want this to be more than a hobby, there's no point owning $10,000 or $20,000 worth of camera gear if you don't know how to communicate the value of what you offer to the client. Unless you're already surpassing your financial goals, sales knowledge is going to be far more beneficial than the latest camera or equipment upgrade. You've probably heard the analogy of give a man a fish and you'll feed him for a day, but teach him how to fish and you'll feed him for a lifetime. Well, if you buy the latest camera, you'll probably be hungry again tomorrow, but if you learn valuable sales skills and how to talk about the value of video, you'll be set for life. Learning to market your business and sell your services and investing in your own skills and knowledge is the best investment that you can make. When you learn to talk about and demonstrate the return on investment a video can have for a potential client, you begin to differentiate yourself from all the other videographers out there and become a business owner who solves real business problems. The difference between those who have amazing creative skills but are paid bottom dollars versus those who are paid more for a lesser quality of work is the ability to sell and market oneself. Sales doesn't have to be slimy, and it isn't when done correctly. The goal with any business transaction is to come away with a mutually beneficial result. So that means you need to be focusing on finding ways to support and help your businesses grow, which in turn means yours will too. If these topics interest you, I want to remind you to check out my free 1-hour masterclass where I share 10 actionable steps to start landing new clients and grow your business, and it's a great addition to what I've already shared in this video. Before you go, let me know in the comments below what struggles you're having with starting your video production business. I'd love to hear so I can support you, and I'll try to respond to every comment personally. I hope you found this video useful, and don't forget to subscribe. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.